phrase. I'm Oliver Gray. I'm the head of East Coast sales over here at Overtime. If you do not know, Overtime is a social-first platform built for sports content for the Gen Z young millennial audience. You can find us on social. Follow us. That's the last sales pitch I'll do here. This whole presentation is all about these lovely ladies here. We're going to dive deep into how Truist finds a way to reach their audience in a unique way in an area that might not be the most fun landscape. However, you guys find a unique way to make it fun and unique, right? So you're going to kill me for that. We're going to dive right in. I've had a great pleasure of knowing these women the past 3 or 4 months. I think one of the best things about my experience with them, not only the savvy in the space, but also the amount of time that they've had in the space. They have over 30 years of combined experience within the social influencer landscape. This part that makes it even more great and cooler is the fact that they've worked for 9 years together. In this landscape these days, 9 years is a long time in general, but to work and have a team that is cohesive together for 9 years is super awesome. And I think it really plays out when you see the work that they've done. So I know that we did quick introductions already, but I will do it one more time to give you guys the flowers. We have Tania Dowdy over here, VP of Social Media at Truist. We got Equal Claps. Shannon Kurtz, also VP of Social Media at Truist. And then also Sherry Malmgren, who is the head of social at Truist. So this team is responsible for Truist's resonance in the marketplace and working with long-term, large-scale partnerships like with the NFL, United Way, and as well as your hometown Atlanta Braves. So I will kick it off, and this question is for Tania. What do you think about data and insights in terms of social media? Can you talk to us about your process of what you guys go through in that process?
Yeah, I think our end-to-end process can probably be summed up in 3 really high-level steps. The first being the marketing brief, right? So what are our industry insights? What is the consumer mindset? Where are we trying to market? And we need that right before we even start our media planning process. Embedded in that first step, right, is around creative insights and creative development. The second high-level piece is once the campaign launches, optimizing based on performance. The third piece is really around measuring impact to the business.
And Sherry, how do you feel about the depth of optimizations when you talk about the process here?
Actually, I'm going to let Tania take that. She is the queen of optimization. She is in it every single day.
Yeah.
Take that one.
Yeah, I think that starts with monitoring a campaign daily, right? And what that means is you may be optimizing weekly, just all of our decisioning is based on performance, and that is performance across our performance marketing channels. We'll use, within optimizations, we can decide to turn something on or turn something off. So really using optimizations, real-time optimizations throughout the length of a campaign.
And you kind of touched upon this a little bit about testing and learning. When is it the time to actually turn it on or turn it off? Like, what's the length of time, and how are you guys implementing those optimizations?
Yeah, we have a pretty robust test and learn strategy. I'll just use a quick example around creative. So in a campaign we were running around our checking acquisition, we had split our audience into 2 parts, focusing on Gen Z, younger millennial, and then our elder millennials and older, and kind of testing which creative concept would work best. So again, starting with a brief, what is our problem statement? What are we trying to solve for? Identifying what is our methodology? What are we trying to learn? In this case, we were trying to learn which creative resonated best with each audience. Then taking that, through the testing process and applying that to the campaign and using that into additional iterations of a campaign.
Just to build on that, and I told you she's the queen. I mean, she knows this stuff. She lives it. She does it all day, every day, and she's helped us to build this at Truist. So I know just in getting a chance to talk with some of you today. People have asked, what's Truist? I know not everyone who's here today is actually from Atlanta, so just a quick touch on that. Truist, we are a top 10 commercial bank, and we were created in 2019 through a merger of equals of SunTrust and BB&T. So two Southern banks came together, now we're Truist, and we've been very lucky because we had the chance to work at the Heritage Banks. Now we're at Truist, and we're building the bank of the future. So the things that Tania is talking about are all very sort of forward-thinking. They may sound like things that some of you guys are already doing inside your companies or at your agencies, but for us, we have this opportunity to take a fresh new look at how to build these things. So we're, in addition to what Tania mentioned, we're always thinking about full funnel. We're always thinking about data signals. We're always looking at how can we make sure that we're reaching the right audience with the right message, which isn't new. It's just there are new approaches to being able to do that in the year 2024 that in the old days, you're kind of stuck in your ways of doing things, and now we have a fresh new look at that. So just lots of excitement around data and insights and building for the future at Truist. And conversions APIs, I can't not mention that. Social search, huge. So when we're working with our agency partners, asking them to lean into social search and helping us understand what can that look like as part of our campaign. So just as you're thinking about the future and how you build your media campaigns, think about those things too.
Going off script a little bit,
Yeah.
you talk about your agency media partners.
Yeah.
How has your relationship with media partners, agency partners changed over the past 5-7 years, knowing that the landscape has changed?
Yeah, I'll say, we at Truist really lean on our agency partners to help us. We really lean on them and our platform partners. So we have very close relationships with all of our social media platform partners, and we meet with them monthly. And we meet with them along with our agency partners together, and we really lean into them to help us understand the rapidly changing environment in social. It's changing so fast. The platform partners are making changes to, the capabilities that they offer. Our agency partners are building, new capabilities to understand audiences. And so we really rely on them to help us there. And so, I think we have a really close partnership, and we also look to them to help us with, extended partnerships, like potentially with overtime, and other opportunities that are out there.
I knocked on wood and crossed my
Right, you're
fingers.
hoping to say that.
Yeah.
You're hoping I say that.
Yes. I'm not mad at it. So, next question. Yeah. So, how is Truist using social media to lean into the emotional branding that Truist needs to come across?
Yep, I can take that one. Hey, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
A little louder.
Okay.
That's very louder.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say that's a great question. Right now, I think we are really leaning into exceptional creative and community engagement. When we think about emotional storytelling and leaning into the future, we're super intentional about the kinds of creative that we put in social media, especially at the awareness level when we think about reaching a new audience of people that isn't, probably as familiar yet with our brand. So really leaning into storytelling, emotional storytelling, whether that be about our teammates, our clients, weaving in our community partnerships, influencers, content creators, all of that we find has been really successful. And then taking those audiences that engage with our awareness level content and retargeting them with mid and lower funnel messages on social media to, really answer on the business objectives and those mid and lower funnel goals. So creative is a big one right now. I would also say just emphasizing the importance of developing creative that's custom to social media and each of the platforms. So not taking, a 3-minute video that might be created for YouTube and trying to post it on Instagram where that audience is expecting a 15-second video or something that's 6 seconds and is vertical, because we know that the data says that's not going to perform as well if we were to create something that was, super custom to the platform, whether it be Snapchat or Reels, whatever it is. So those two things with creative we're really leaning into this year. And then the other thing I would say is community engagement. So we're seeing more and more positive comments on our social posts, which is amazing. And we're really ramping up our strategy in terms of how we respond to those people and trying to take advantage of social media being, a place to build relationships and form connections and have conversations versus just a channel where we can post an ad or a TV spot. So we're really looking to how we can amp that up this year and have a robust strategy for community engagement.
Double tapping on that. How do you wait? Shay, you
No,
wanna
go
say
ahead.
something?
Do double tap.
Yeah, double tap. Okay, cool. How do you guys focus on authenticity, especially when you're talking to that younger audience, the Gen Z, younger millennials who can smell BS super quickly, especially with financial institutions? How do you guys really focus on that when you need to reach this younger audience at a time where they're haven't had built-in decision-making decisions already?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think authenticity, humanizing our brand, of course, those are things that we are really emphasizing. I think one way we're doing that more now more than ever before is leaning on our teammates and looking to them as really brand ambassadors. So our teammates are super active on social media, which is amazing, especially on LinkedIn. And so we are empowering them and enabling them with resources and content for them to post in a confident way that's also comes across like polished. They're saying the right things. We're giving them like copy inspiration, images that are approved and professional looking, the right hashtags, like kind of giving our teammates the tools that they need to talk about our brand too. So it's not always coming from the company. It's also kind of starts from the inside out, and that tends to come across in a more authentic way.
Yeah, the queen of branding and care, Shannon. Just to kind of add to that, we also are very lucky to work for a company that's purpose inspired. So when Shannon talks about how we humanize the brand, and we look to the future, our purpose, mission, and values are at the core of everything we do. And I loved what Kim said about, having the chance to focus on joy and how they bring that to life inside their company by asking you to, create your name, your ice cream name. And at Truist, we're also creating our personal purpose, and everybody has the opportunity to put that where everyone can see it. And so when we're thinking about creative and content and authenticity, it's at our purpose is at the core of everything we do. And when you think about banking and it's a sea of sameness, our differentiator is care. It's one of our 5 values. It's where we lean in. And so doing things like really focusing on community management as a bank, we'll never be Wendy's. We'd love to be, but that's not our brand voice, and that's just not who we are. We're focused on care, but we're trying to really reach our consumers in a different way and engaging with them on social and thinking about social and leveraging it to its best potential, which is so different from any other channel, right? Social creates an opportunity for you to have conversations, for you to do more, and thinking about not just within a platform, but across platforms and across digital experiences. And so we're also kind of looking at like the total social approach, which is what Shannon mentioned about how we think about teammates. So, I also just sort of, as you think about the future, I know a lot of companies have created social organizations that kind of maybe the paid team sits over here and the organic team sits there. We, as we're building for the future at Truist, we're keeping it together, and we're calling it total social, and we're making sure that we're thinking about leveraging social to create brand experiences that build brand love, and we're making sure that the content is consistent so that when you see it on, when you see our brand message of care on TikTok and you see it on Instagram and you see it on Facebook, it may not be the exact same message, but it has the same look and feel, whether it's organic or paid or from a teammate or from our CEO, Bill Rogers. So just a really important thing to think about, I encourage you to think about as you're also building for the future, because it's a little bit different.
Yeah, totally. So when we think about social media, there's paid and organic social. What are some other ways that you guys are utilizing social media to activate on the emotional branding front?
I can take that one. Well, we talked about teammates a little bit. I would say the other one is content creator partnerships. We love partnering with with influencers that really align with our brand, with our purpose, values, exude care, all of that. And we're really thoughtful about who we partner with. And when we do influencer partnerships, it's amazing because we're able to, again, partner with somebody that aligns with our brand, but also tap into an audience of people that trust them. So they're listening to somebody who's talking about our brand in a positive way, and they already trust that person. So we always see really great results in terms of performance when we do that, and we're looking to do more of that this year. One example I'll give through our partnership with the NFL, we have an initiative that it's a content series called Beyond the Field that we started doing, I guess 3 or 4 years ago probably, where we have the opportunity to partner with different NFL players in some of our key markets. And those players are huge influencers. They have large followings on social media. And so last year we had an opportunity to partner with 5 players in 5 of our key markets and create what we were calling a day of care. So we're out with the players, with our partners at the NFL in 5 different communities, and we went into schools and nonprofit organizations and small businesses and kind of had a surprise and delight component as well, where we were doing these acts of care in these places and filming it and creating these beautiful stories that we could run in paid social and organic as well. But then also the players were posting them. We promoted their posts with paid media. We were also doing real-time, boots on the ground social media during the production and helping the employees at the schools and the businesses really hand-holding, making sure they're tagging us the right way, using the right hashtags and tagging the players and all of that. So that's just an example of an influencer partnership that also kind of had this total social approach of paid, organic, our teammates who were posting at the same time and engaging with all of this content and influencer as well. So excited to do more with influencers this year as we think toward the future and what's next.
One thing that is clear in that is a lot of coordination between the many teams. How have you guys gotten everybody rowing the boat in the same direction? It's one thing to say it, but for everybody, all different divisions to actually do it and implement that strategy, what's the secret sauce behind that?
Well, I'll speak to the example I said. So for the Beyond the Field series, it just is a lot of planning and coordination from many different teams. Our sports and sponsorships marketing team really led so many of the logistics with actually bringing those moments to life, and then agency partners helping to coordinate. Obviously, our partners at the NFL, it was just a lot of planning, a lot of logistics, lots of sharing social media guidance and inspiration ahead of time with those different businesses and people that we were partnering with, so they could plan ahead and things like that. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I'll just build on that a little bit. So at Truist, social media sits inside digital client experience and marketing. That's where, and we are a center of excellence for the enterprise, so we stretch across everywhere. We're helping people all day long with social, whether it's campaigns or whether it's teammates. And when it comes to a campaign like this, like Shannon said, integration is super important. So we do have questions. We have teams that come together in pods, or and it starts with a brief, right? You have to have a solid, tight brief, and once you have that brief, then that kicks off a lot of different members of a core team who will then go start to work on a creative plan and a media plan, a partnership plan, a social plan, and all the channels kind of come together and start to work on, once we know the brief, how do all the channels come together and talk about how we can activate against that. And so you guys are all experts at this stuff too, so it's easier said than done. Sitting here talking about it makes it sound clean and simple, but there's it's a lot behind the scenes. It's not easy to do, but I feel like we're getting better and better at it.
I have 2 more questions before I open it up to the room. So we mentioned you guys have worked together for 9 years. That's a long time in this industry.
It makes us sound really old.
I did not say that. You said it, but
It's like 63.
I was trying to give you guys shine for the collaboration. But what is the secret sauce there? What obviously you guys like working together, but what keeps you guys coming to Truist? What makes you excited about coming to Truist every day?
That's a great question. That wasn't planned.
Nope.
I mean, I'll just say for me, what I love about Truist the most is our purpose. To have a chance to work for a company that actually has a purpose and lives it every single day is so meaningful to me, and so that's why I'm here. And the people are incredible. I mean, our team. I'll let you guys speak for yourselves, and I'll close my ears. But we have a really strong, tight team, and for anyone who's worked in social, you know how difficult it is. I mean, it is 24/7. It is always on. There's always something going on. We love working together, and our team. We have a team of really smart, talented social media marketers. They're not all here today. Jenny's back there in the purple. She's on one of our teams, but there are 10 more of us that 2 are back there, but there are more of us that aren't here today. We just have a really strong, tight team. But you guys certainly can jump in.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just a really strong, tight team. I think we always joke around bringing the fun back to social, just having fun every day. Like Sherry said, you just never know what can happen within our channel, but I think we trust each other enough. And like I said, we have fun and making sure we have fun every single day. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's for me 100% the people that I've gotten to work with, the relationships that I've built. It's just been a wonderful place to be. So many great experiences and relationships that we've made. And then also, I would say, I mean, getting to go through a massive merger and just that was in itself was a great experience. I think Sherry mentioned, but we were running social media for 3 different companies at one point. So just a lot of good experience and learnings getting to do that, and with both of them and our extended team has been a great ride. So it's a good place to be.
That and the merger, keep in mind, was during a pandemic when we all went remote, and so it added a whole new level of complexity. And I think it was either you loved it or you hated it, and we all decided to love it and stick with it. And I think now having the chance to see like the future of Truist and how great it can be is really, really exciting.
Obviously, you guys are partners with the NFL. Super Bowl ended 6 days ago. Coming up again in 300 days. One-word answers. If you had to pick up the halftime artist, who would it be? Share you first.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I guess first.
go ahead, Shannon.
I should have prepped you guys before.
That was a good one.
All right, let's I was just gonna say never mind. I was gonna say let's give Usher another chance because he's the hometown guy, but.
I thought you were going to say Snoop.
always Snoop. These guys know I said if we want to create like a memorable branded moment and like really build follower growth on social, like let's just go partner with Snoop. I mean, like let's go.
Tania?
I'm good with Snoop, yeah.
All right, that's a cop out. I'll open it up to the rest of the room. Anybody have questions for? Yeah.
Yeah, so this is really for anybody, but I think you started to touch on it, Sherry, in terms of the challenges of working in social media. And I think when you're at an event like this, you think about all the positives that your team is working on. And I also see it, you also mentioned Wendy's. Recently with the surge pricing announcement and the dynamic pricing, there was a social media sort of explosion of consumer feedback. How are you managing sort of the opposite end of social in terms of understanding what you haven't learned yet or looking for signals of where you need to be paying attention to?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I mean, because as you can imagine, being a bank, it's not always sunshine and roses over here. We do have, and we have people who are dedicated to caring for those conversations in social. So first we have 2 people on our team who are not here today, but their job is they are experts in social listening, in data, in crisis response. Caroline and Nikki are amazing. Caroline's been doing this with us for 6 years, so and Nikki a couple of years too. But they're in the tools every single day, trying to understand the conversations happening out in the world about Truist, ingesting those through our solutions, and then like really leaning into what are the topics of conversation that we need to focus on the most right now. and then also taking all that data and insights and funneling it back through people in the company who can make quick decisions around changing something. I mean, do we need to stop a promotional offer that we have in market right now because there's a backlog in fulfillment? Things like that. So, and then we have our care team. They're not in marketing, they sit in our contact center world, but there's a team of people who are dedicated to helping our clients. So they're also using these similar tools. And then they're logging those as cases. So every conversation's logged as a case. And then that's embedded within a data set in the company that looks at complaints in general. And then it can isolate by channel. So really important question, and I'm glad you asked it because it's just such a huge part of what we do. And when it comes to your money, people are, that's what matters. You're so passionate about that. So when something goes wrong, we need to be there to help. And so we really try to make sure that we have that strategy in place and always on.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Do you have time for another one?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was a BB&T customer and I got to ride through the merger, and nobody lost my money afterwards. And I'm still a Truist customer. I'm interested in. I opened my first account at my parents' bank. Both of my children have now opened accounts at Truist. So opportunity, what do you talk about in terms of that retention, right? So it's one thing to be out there in acquisition for, what did you call them, the young Z's, that's one of them, versus the elder Z's, but how do you hold on to my kids, right? You know they have accounts, maybe you can see that the app's on their device, but from a social, I don't know that they know that you're a purpose brand unless they're getting exposed to that, because I'm not telling them that.
Yeah. That's a great question. Well, first of all, thank you for being a customer.
Take all my money.
Kids too. And I'm glad you stayed with us through the merger. We definitely, it was bumpy, but here we are. So, I think the question you asked is perfect. It's a great question because every bank is trying to solve this problem right now. How do you create the stickiness? I think that's a word that you use in other industries too. Like you get people to enjoy your product, there are actions they can take that get them to then stay or make it difficult to leave. And in banking, it's a sea of sameness. So figuring out what's your differentiator, right? And so for us right now, it is care. And we are not afraid to say it. We are proudly telling the world that we are about care and that it is part of everything we do, from building digital experiences to how we interact with you face to face, or on the phone, or in social. And so how we care for the younger generations who, I think a lot of people think they just need digital or they only want digital, but oftentimes they do need to talk to someone. So when they need us, how do we make sure we're there for them in the way that they want us to be, so they can reach us through their channels? A lot of it's through social. And how do we then help them on that journey? So journey mapping, client experience journey rooms, which we have it's called the Innovation and Technology Center in our headquarters in Charlotte. And there are teams of people who are working every single day on mapping out the journeys. And especially through our leadership development program, which are cohorts of people who are right out of college. They'll spend a year in this program and they spend a lot of time in the journey rooms helping to build the future of banking for the Gen Z and young millennials. Because it's not just about a promo offer for them. It's more than that. And I don't have the exact answer for you, but I can tell you we're working on it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah,
to
I'll
that?
just add one more thing. I think, again, it goes back to understanding the consumer, their insight. What do they care about? And getting in front of them, based on that. That could mean partnering with, their favorite NFL player, and showing up in their newsfeed with that sort of content. So I think it really all goes back to understanding who the consumer is.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.